Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We are going to be starting in about 5 minutes. Hello and good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining us on your Saturday morning. My name is Sydney, and I'm going to guide you guys through today's session for the Walk With Me Impact curriculum. We're going to be hearing an overview of the curriculum, hearing from project contributors, and talking about how to purchase. There's going to be a Q&A section at the end of the presentation, so feel free to leave any questions that come up along the way in the chat box, or you can raise your hand at the end when we address all the questions. Hopefully we will answer all your questions along the way. Oops, my bad. Walk With Me Impact strives to lead in mentoring services, and we offer top quality curriculum-based services and resources. Oh, I'm so sorry. Our team is super diverse. We have lived experience experts. We also have people with academic backgrounds of academia. Some people on our team include our founder and program director, Armand King. He has over 12 years experience designing and implementing programs for at-risk youth and young adults. We also have Asha Jimenez, who's also with us here today. She's a clinical community psychologist. And we also have Michael Steen, also known as Young Poppy on our team, who's currently serving a federal sentence for fentanyl. And our youth consultants are so important to us. They have gone through the circumstances that the curriculum addresses, and they have given their input throughout the way of creating this curriculum, and their input has been very impactful. Now we're going to be hearing from Mr. Armand King, our Executive Director of Programs.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Sydney. Thank you everybody that joined this session today to hear a little bit more about the Walk With Me Impact curriculum. And somebody who's been in the nonprofit sector, the community service sector for over a decade now. I've been in many different seminars, webinars, and things of that nature. Was in 2 yesterday. And this is not going to be that typical webinar. And this curriculum is not your typical curriculum. I really want to start with the foundation. What validates this as a curriculum that's targeting at-risk male youth? Why? How did this come about? And I have to lay the groundwork so we know where are the roots of this tree, right? So if you look in the top corner of this slide right here, you see a picture of a young, handsome little guy. I think that you might call him Armand King as a baby. He might have been 1 year old or just under 1 year old at this time. And I start with this picture for a reason. All jokes aside, like every human being, like those of you that are on this call right now, like the youth that you may be working with, we all started from somewhere. And we started as a baby, an innocent baby, with like a blank sheet of paper, ready, waiting and ready to be wrote on, like a canvas without paint on it. The beginning stages of life. And due to a certain due to a certain set of circumstances, lack of resources, good parenting, bad parenting, you name it. These are the building blocks that help mold this clay that we have called an innocent baby that eventually became who I became, which is an at-risk youth. And for lack of better terms, we're going to call it at-risk youth. And I still use that term at-risk youth, although I know terminology changes all the time. And some people believe don't call at-risk youth, call that promise, call opportunity youth, whatever you may classify it. So please forgive me if I'm not hitting with a term you would want. But at-risk youth to me means that kid that's at risk at that pool, like literally walking along the side of a pool. That kid that's walking along the edge of the pool is more at risk than someone who may be two blocks down. That kid's at risk of falling in, getting pulled in, tripping over his own feet, wanting to jump in, putting one foot in. They're closer to the risk of that pool. So that's when I'm talking about at-risk youth, I'm talking about those that are on the edge and even those that are already playing with the water. So myself as a youth, I grew up in a toxic home life. Father in and out the home at an early age before he was completely out of my household. Um, Toxic lifestyle, just I can go on for days about my childhood, but in comparison to a lot of youth we deal with, I probably was growing up in Disneyland. From 12 to close to 15 years old, I was a homeless youth. And homeless not meaning sleeping under a bridge or on Skid Row in a tent. Homeless meaning I was bouncing house to house as long as a family member or a friend of the family would let us stay on their couch, their living room. And at the time, it was me, my sister, and I had two cousins that were living with me because their mother was out there and on the streets. So four kids bouncing house to house with a single mom. We were homeless youth. During that time, I consider myself, I became a wannabe gang member. I started getting involved and interested in gang lifestyle during my middle school years with a group of other kids that were probably going through similar situations to me as me, but instead of having proper resources to exercise the pain and what we were going through in our home life, we chose to act out in our school environment. I chose to attack teachers. I chose to attack other kids. I chose to want needing of acceptance and belonging to join the neighborhood gang, which at the time was the coolest thing possible, and not the stereotypical you got jumped in or you had to go shoot somebody to be in. No, it was a group of kids that was the neighborhood. That's just where we were from, and you had to represent from there. So I got heavily gang involved as a young youth. Not too much longer after that, when my family got on our feet, I was 15 years old, entering into high school, ninth grade, where I'll merge into this middle picture right here. And I'm going to stay right here for a second on this middle picture because this is this picture is the curriculum right here. This picture is who we're targeting right here with this curriculum. They say a picture says 1,000 words. I like to say this picture right here is screaming at me 1,000 words over and over again, and I can't even dig deep enough into it that I want to. But I'll touch a few. You look at this group of kids, they're really a good group of kids. Not one of these kids had a father in the household. Not one of these kids right here, including myself, who you see up there with the scribbled out hand because I wanted to toss up my clique, my crew, and messed up the picture. We look at the bottom right corner, my friend Lawrence Smith. Lawrence Smith, at this time right now, he probably just beat a murder case himself at 15 years old. I was in attendance in the courtroom when he got off on self-defense. Within a year later, Lawrence Smith was murdered at 16 years old in front of the neighborhood apartments that he claimed as his set. You go to the top of this pyramid of picture and you see my brother, one of my best friends, Richard Wilson, right here. He was killed 20 years ago by four kids. They were 14, 15, 17, and 19 years old on a shooting spree between San Diego and Los Angeles. They had shot 12 people within those 2 weeks. And the day they killed my brother, they also killed a 16-year-old kid in front of the same apartments that Lawrence was found dead in front of. You go to the middle picture, you see the shortest guy in the bunch, the guy we used to make fun of, but loved him so much, I will fight to death for this kid right here. Kenny McKnight, 2017, 17, not too long ago, well into his 30s, was just murdered, shot in the head by a girl on the blade. He was on I think he was actually like on a suicide mission. He had one of those people who was not impacted by positive mentorship, didn't have the proper resources in his life, and he was drug along, and he allowed himself to get drug along, being diagnosed with a learning disability at an early age, which totally threw him off from school. And he leaned on that disability until the point of him not wanting to live anymore. Got in a fight with somebody that he could have walked away from, that actually presented the gun and said, "I will shoot you." But instead of backing away, Kenny pushed towards that gun and was shot. So from no fathers, I'm looking at two individuals in this picture to this day that are addicted to substances to their detriment right now. I'm looking at three kids in this picture that all were in foster care. So when I look and you see their dress, you see the way these kids in this picture. I notice there's Nautica, there's Tommy Hilfiger, there's Polo, there's collar shirts. This is how they dress, not what you would Google image. What does an at-risk youth look like? What does a gang member look like? So we cannot also put that picture on the youth and say, okay, he's not at risk because he looks good or he talks good or he attends church or he's going to school every day. they're still at that risk. With any little thing can divert them into the paths that we're trying to prevent. So from this, my high school years, many friends gone. There's one friend that's not in this picture, William Wagner, that was very much so a part of this crew that also died in 2017. Less than 3 months away from Kenny being murdered, he died of a fentanyl poisoning. He was the first person I ever heard of this that died the first time I ever heard of fentanyl. To this date, I have over 24 friends and as close associates that I know have died of fentanyl poisoning. So from this time, you get to myself growing up as an adult. I ended up doing 3 years in federal prison for 10 pounds of cannabis. That's now legal and on the stock market, but that's a whole nother information session. We'll leave that one aside. But I did 3 years, first time offense, 2 felonies, two strikes, 9 different institutions I stayed in across the United States: Oklahoma, Atlanta, Oregon, Florida, California. I've been in 9 different institutions: Con Air, bust, you name it, holdovers, jail cells, federal prisons, federal camps. And at the time, it was my first time ever going to jail. Why this? Woe is me. Why, God? Why am I going through this? Little did I know I was being prepared, and I needed to know how to impact youth throughout this country. I needed to know what that prison industrial complex really felt like, what it felt like not to receive a letter, the pain. I needed to know. So you can know, but I needed to know through experience. So from that time, recent years, the past 12 years of my life, I say I've been in the trenches of helping not just at-risk male youth, but helping from babies to seniors to women, men, helping creating programs that I knew would be impactful to these populations because I was that population. I didn't know what a nonprofit organization was in 2010 when I started down this path. I didn't even have plans on being in the nonprofit sector. Didn't want to, didn't know what it was, didn't think about being a youth advocate. That was not on my mind. It was, they say, let God take the wheel. He didn't just take the wheel from me. He snatched it from me, threw me in the trunk, and I've been on a ride for the past decade, dedicated. For whatever reason, my attachment to my friends that I have lost is so deep. I just, looking at the youth these days, and I see the faces of my friends in theirs. I see a set of circumstances and situations that have not been addressed properly yet. Although there are great people doing great work all over the place, I didn't feel or see that directly happening to the people in my community. So instead of just complaining about it, I'm solution oriented. So that's when we started, I started creating programs, from entrepreneur development programs, education programs, running programs in school, along with the schools and middle schools, doing grassroots engagements with at-risk youth and adults, creating youth-centered events like the seven years I ran the San Diego Youth Hip Hop Leadership Summit, with bringing hundreds of kids annually to a college campus here in San Diego, using hip hop as a Trojan horse to mentor and educate, because I knew how valuable hip hop was. In school programming and presentations, not just here in San Diego, but I've been doing this across the country and in Canada. Unfortunately, I'm not able to go in Canada because those 2 felonies I mentioned, but virtually I've been doing work all over the place. So I just wanted to lay the foundation. This didn't just come from anywhere. This has been through what people are asking, like, where's the data on this particular curriculum? And before we get in there, just know that this curriculum is a new curriculum, but it's based off of tried, true, proven methods that I have gathered from work that I've done intimately and that I've seen other people do, that works, now comprised into a collection to help mentors and advocates everywhere. Next slide, please. So if you heard me mention 2017, losing both my friend William Wagner, best friends, William Wagner, Kenny McKnight, and a few months later, I lost a second cousin, my cousin's son, all within that year. I thought this year was the worst year of my life. As much as I've been losing people throughout time, 2017 was like, dang, why? Back to back. And then 2021 came and smacked the life out of me. I call it the state of emergency. And if you look right here and you see 9 faces, these are 9 faces of people that are no longer living. In 2021, listen, I lost a loved one every single month of the year, some months too. And when I'm saying loved ones, I mean people not just, oh, I knew him, but no, I knew him. I was working with him. I lost 2 cousins this year. I lost 7 mentees that worked under my tutelage that I was literally mentoring. The top in the middle, the kid you see right there, he was 14 years old in this picture. He was 15 when he died. I'm the last person he spoke to, called me on FaceTime 2 a.m. to tell me how much he loved me, how much I was more than a mentor. I was like a father, a brother to him. 3 hours later, he was found unresponsive. I had no idea that this kid was dying. He did, and chose to call me as his last call. That hurt. Okay. Number 1 cause of death of these individuals was murder, gun violence. Number 2, fentanyl. The bottom right corner, Jordan. He was killed by another one of my mentees that was high. Literally 2 weeks and less than a mile away from the kid next to him, my cousin Arnulfo, who was shot and murdered, all in the same neighborhood. I wanted to get away and leave this work so bad. I promise you, I couldn't do it anymore. This is after 10 years plus of doing the work and just like, if you're a youth advocate, if you're working with this population and you have a heart, you're an empath, you feel the pain of the losses. You feel it. And it's not like you people tell you their troubles, you know about their situation, it goes in one ear and out the other. That's not the case. In some situations, you live with it and deal with it more than the individual themselves. And that was me. So I figured I wanted to get away and go do something happy. You know, if it was up to me in my life, I would be drawing cartoons and throwing reggae concerts. That's my fun. This work was something that was put on me and I did it and I'm doing it with a smile. But this year I had to go. But at the same time of escaping, I got that tap on the shoulder again. God, universe had me remember this curriculum that I had been sitting on, pieces that I've been working on for over a year at this point, now being 3 years complete. I had to finish it so that the work and the stuff I knew worked with at-risk youth could come to life and I could help empower other mentors, people that were coming up like me that weren't prepared for losing the lives like this. Where could I have gone to when the mentor, was going through it over these lives to help me, to help others, to help me be strong? It needed to come to life. Next slide, please. So thank you for bearing with me on that piece right there, but I had to lay the foundation. Why this curriculum? Why me as the author, the main author of this curriculum? You know, so you heard about the problems: fentanyl poisoning, human trafficking, very prevalent, youth gun violence, gang violence, in-school shootings, this trauma with problems. You know, like I said earlier, solution-based. What are the solutions? Proper prevention, intervention if they're already dabbling, already kind of involved. Awareness, make them aware of their consequences, both personal consequences to their families and legal consequences. Too often the youth don't know what the hell they're really facing until they're in front of a judge. It's too late at that moment. Proper education, proper mentorship, and coping skills, because many of the youth, by the time they're 14, 15, if they're at risk, they've already felt the pain. They've already gone through the motions. Next slide, please. All right. You guys came for what is the curriculum? You really come for but you needed to know that piece. But this curriculum is based off of 3 books. You see 4 there. The 4th book is a small mini book add-on called Lessons and Suggestions. It's a quick read that a parent, teacher, someone can read from a voice of lived experience, covering human trafficking, gang violence, substance abuse, addiction, sales, and it has information from defense attorneys in there on legal consequences. But the curriculum is based off of 3 books. It covers a wide range of issues: homelessness, child abuse, poverty, proper decision-making, coping skills. This book is a merger between lived experience, expertise, and academic expertise, with a strong lead from lived experience experts. So this it's crafted in the voice of those with lived experience. So it may shock people from the academic world. You might look at this book, you get into it like, why is the sentence structure like this? Why did they correct this word? Why is it spelled like that? Why are they delivering it like that? Trust me, we've gone through this. It's meant to reach this population of youth that is not being reached all the way right now. This is a method that we know has worked in delivering this needed conversation and method to the youth. The true essence of this curriculum, and you'll hear me repeat this a couple more times, is having the needed conversations. Not so much what is this, what's the content of the book, although extremely valuable. The purpose is to draw the conversations, help guide needed conversations about multiple topics impacting the youth from mentors, youth advocates, whether they come from lived experience or not, helping you to create a safe space to have these much needed conversations, using different methods of learning to bring out the dialogue, because as human beings, we all learn differently. So in this book, you'll see art. You'll know in this curriculum, there's music, rap music, there's stories, there's places for, to be able to put yourself in the shoes, that hands-on, being able to put yourself in that place, having these conversations using different methods. This curriculum serves as a valuable tool for facilitators aiming to establish genuine connections with their students and participants. The youth really do want to learn. Hear me. The youth you're working with, sometimes as troubled as they may seem, they really do want to learn. But most of them need lessons that are relevant, thought-provoking, and engaging. Next slide, please. So the beginning of this curriculum is a facilitator's guide. This facilitator's guide does more than just teach you how to operate the curriculum. This facilitator's guide helps educate and strengthen the facilitator themselves first. Before you can go in front of these youth and help this population, it's to strengthen you first, much more than just facilitating a program. It helps with mentorship development. Creating stronger mentors means better staff retention, means you're able to actually help the youth even more. And this facilitator's guide will help you understand the population that you're serving, and not just them, but their families as well. Understanding the backgrounds and identities of the students is crucial to effective engagement. Your students need someone who understands them, and they're not going to just go sit the adult down and say, let me help you understand where I come from. So that's why even before delving into the core of the curriculum, we provide guidance to assist facilitators in that regard. Understanding things like ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, the resilience study, and providing test examples so you can utilize this in your own work if you choose to. Suggested staff security procedures, de-escalation techniques. It's too much valuable information in this book. I'm not going over all of it, but I am giving you some of the key pieces too. It's going to help yourself and your youth to deal with the death of mentees and their peers. You need this, trust me, you need this information. Understanding systemic racism and the role it plays with your program participants. How to collaborate with systems and community-based organizations and why that's needed. Also, you heard me speak about lived experience experts, extremely valuable in your work. But hiring, how do you hire the best? Just because someone's a former gang member, former drug user, doesn't mean they need to be in front of your youth. Not everybody, So how do you hire and work with the correct ones and help develop them once you have them? This facilitator's guide helps you with restorative practices, trauma-informed care. And then after you get through these core ingredients, even helping you understand what's your why? Why are you doing this? The guide then goes into the facilitation of the curriculum with suggested strategies on how to facilitate it. It suggests best practices for the curriculum facilitation, although it is extremely customizable to fit the needs of your program, your school, your juvenile detention facility, your household. If you're a parent that's implementing this into the home, it also has pre, post, and mid surveys, as well as data collection suggestions, and we'll dive deeper into that later on in the session. Next slide, please. So the first book, I call this the icebreaker of the curriculum. This book right here, Core Directions, is providing youth with a base of core ingredients, things they need to know. These core directions were a set of issues and tips that we wanted to give the youth. These tips and these ideas came not just from myself, but our team of youth consultants. The subjects addressed are things that needed to be discussed, and we felt were the core information that the youth needed that would help prevent them from getting involved in things like human sex trafficking or being involved in crime. Because for those of us that may be in the education industry field or teachers, or when you're a kid and you're in the sixth grade, when you're a 12-year-old, when you're 6, 7 years old, and the teacher asks you that cliche question, what do you want to be when you grow up? There's no kid that raises their hand and says, I want to be a pimp when I grow up. I want to murder people when I grow up. I want to be addicted to pills so bad I can't live without them when I grow up. No kid says that. There's a set of circumstances, lack of opportunity, and resources and different influences that make that happen. So we want to develop them and give them the core ingredients to prevent that from happening in the first place. Some of the topics covered in this book are believing in yourself. How important is just that? When it comes to, we say, don't fall for peer pressure without explaining what is peer pressure. We just say, don't fall for it. How important is believing in yourself? Things like social media, understanding what that is now and how that can impact your life negatively. I'm a work as a federal court expert, state court expert. You'd be surprised how many cases on youth are built off of just what they posted on social media. Are we warning them? Are we telling them? Even oftentimes they're lying. Core ingredients like core directions, like how do you deal with the death of a peer? Helping the youth with that, helping them understand that, understanding positive relationships. If they come from a family or have been impoverished, understanding the poverty and helping them with ingredients and key directions on how to get out of poverty. Because if you don't, please believe the streets will teach them, as they do many. Helping them understand substance abuse addiction and why it's so important to stay away from it. How to get out of a toxic path if they're already getting involved. Help them out now. This book, like the entire curriculum, is to be used to generate needed conversations between the facilitator and the youth. We use both written word and artwork. If you open the book, and I wish I had a slide, we'll do this later, but if there was, if you open it up, there's a picture, a hand-drawn picture that coincides with what you're reading to the youth. So now youth can look at the picture that are more art-centered and you use these pieces, and we direct you through the facilitator guide how to draw conversations out of these. If it's believing in yourself, and you got an image, you got the words, you can read it to them, you can show the picture, and now let's talk about it. Let's get their mind going. And then on top of with these, we created a set of visual aids to go with each core direction. These visual aids are paired with each core direction, so the youth can hear directly from people of lived experience. These are meant to assist a facilitator. Not everyone who facilitates the program comes from a place of lived experience as an at-risk youth, although has a heart of gold and really wants to help the youth. So we wanted to alleviate the barriers of you reaching them. So these set of conversations they can be used as conversation starters. You can direct them to use this on their own. For those that are in the school system, we have many youth that are sitting in school suspension, doing nothing, gaining no value, sitting in juvenile detention that are doing nothing. Play these videos. Okay, they can be used at any point during the program. They can be used at home for the youth. They could be used in your session. They could be used, like I said, in school suspension, juvenile detention facilities, at home, easily accessible, and on the Walk With Me Impact YouTube page for free. So we're going to play an example now, so you can actually see. This is one of the examples of the visual aids.
Things that feel good to you aren't good for you, you know. So you got to. That's my advice. Go look at it. Go look at YouTube. Go ask your parents, cause somewhere along the line, you got an uncle or something. You got a cousin or something that you see how they look. You know, ask them how they got there. And they say, oh, well, that's because they do crack. That's where they started. That's what they start off with. And I guarantee somewhere along the way, y'all gonna have a mutual drug in common.
You know, go see how it looks 15 years down the line. As if you make it 15 years, you know, doing drugs. You know, on God, it only take one time. For real.
Like bro said, look at yourself 10, 15 years down the line. These drugs nowadays is one shot. You dead. 3, 6 months you messing with the fentanyl, it's a bad look. And now you really hooked. You get what I'm saying? So before you start, how about do the research, right? Everything you do the research. YouTube University, Google, check your families, check the whole thing, right? Do I really want this? Do I really want this? Or am I just faking it right now because the homies is pressuring me? You know what I'm saying? Because baby said our sex is gonna be better if you take this pill.
People lose their life. They lose everything that they own. You know, they lose their family, and it's not worth it. You know, then it all stems back to, damn, just off of that one decision. You know, and it's detrimental.
Be the weirdo. Don't be the follower like, oh man, we finna go have some drink. It's gonna look fun. It's gonna look real fun. You know what I mean? But it's not gonna look fun when you over here driving with your homeboy. He's 16 years old, y'all drinking, he just got his L's, and now y'all crashing to the side of the freeway, and he dead, and you alive. That don't look fun.
So that was just an example. And there's, like I said, every core direction is paired with a video. You can choose to use them or not. You may come from a place, and once you get into this curriculum, you're like, okay, I don't need any help facilitating conversations. Go for it. But we wanted to put every tool in your path so you could help them. And then the next book is called Choose Your Path. So this Choose Your Path is based on a set of true stories that come from a group of youth that really take them through their middle school, high school years, leading into young adulthood. And these stories are not fabricated. These are real things that this same group of youth went through. And unfortunately, it hits a lot of toxic topics. The youth readers are challenged to put themselves in the shoes of the kids in the story. Stories end at a cliffhanger point. Like you would read one part, story one. At the end of story one, it doesn't end at the answer. It ends at where the decision is made. So now you can use this as a conversation tool with the youth to ask them, like, what would you do? Now you have them generating and thinking about what they would do if they was said youth. You know, and then part of where it's directing in the curriculum for the youth to go home, think about what they would do, come back the next session, and now you guys have a further discussion. But like I said, customizable. You could go through it right then that day. So the conversation about it helps generate positive decision-making skills the youth may not have, but you as the facilitator are there to help guide them through these decisions, preparing them, making them aware of these different type of situations. Is helping. Proper preparation prevents a poor performance, the 5 Ps. More than likely, the youth that you have, they are going to be approached by these situations sometime in the future, some variation of these situations, or they've already gone through that situation or something like it. So rather than them never dealing with it, having a facilitator and a mentor help guide them through what they've already gone through and process, and wait until they're 25 years old and realizing they needed help, we can help them where they're at now. Youth grow older sitting on built up trauma. You know, I've been losing best friends since 12 years old. Not ever did a teacher, parent, counselor, therapist come in to help me deal with that pain, you know, just packed on. You know, many topics are presented in here that the youth deal with still to this day, like STDs, homelessness, youth incarceration. And with just like the core directions book that came with the set of visual aids, this one comes with audio aids. So each story that you go through with the youth is paired with a rap song. Rap is extremely powerful and important. I'm trying to think back at times of anything I ever remember a teacher teaching me in my life, and I can't. but yet I can remember every Snoop Dogg line from 1993. Somebody was teaching me, and so no, just like I realize how important hip hop is and music is. So let's use it. Let's not just talk about how bad it is. Let's flip it, use it, make creative songs like we did here to help you out. They're suggested to have the youth listen to these songs after that cliffhanger, and the song is directly it's a rap version of what they read. Like I said, we're using multiple ways to reach the youth. Yes, we read the story. Yes, they read the story. Oh, and now they're deciding what to do with it, if they were in that position. But now here's a song to further plant the seeds in their head, right? Creating at the end of the song, which we're about to play an example, there's an extended instrumental where now the youth can now write to it if they want to. Further the rap song with their decision. They can write a poem. They can write. There's no wrong way. There's no right way. Just write. The songs are also available on our YouTube page for free for the youth, and they can use them as you want them to. They're called audio missions. We chose to use the word mission instead of audio homework because no kid or adult likes the word homework. Change the word, you'll change their attitude towards it. Please play that example so we can let them see what we're talking about.
Yeah. Tough life. True. For real. What's the deal? For real. Yeah. Just another day, I was sitting in class, waiting for the bell to ring. I didn't think I would pass. Finally had a school, went there with my cousin Savannah. Nothing much to talk about, 5 girls and drama. See, my pop's gone, and I didn't even have no mama. Taken in by my auntie, walking home, my stomach started feeling funny. My aunt wasn't there to pick us up. My cousin looked calm, but she knew something's up. Maybe she just parked at the block. She's waiting. 45 minutes we walk up, my heart's pacing. The door was locked with a note. I'm praying for this life to stop. Yeah, house to house. Now I'm really from the block. Don't tell me about no classes, cause I only want the guap. Tired of being broke, but I'm too young for a spot. Hit up my homie Chance just to see what he planted. He said there's a phone store that my sis used to manage. Just one guy, one hit, and he won't be standing. Really quick, we gon' be in and out. And not for 1 second that I ever think this plan would ever go south. Chance got it for homies and told me it's time. We hit the phone store, they're snatching every single line. I had the gun on him, but no one can track the time. Security out the window, I'm choking. Chance said to hurry up the spot. I'm going, couple grand in all of our bags. I'm knowing, family gonna be happy and fed. I'm focused, then we got stopped by them sounds and them lights. We're frozen.
So that song and what you heard there was directly a rap version of the story that was read, and it ended at the cliffhanger. Group of kids that just robbed a phone store, thought they were getting away. True story. And when they left, they were stopped by the red and blue lights. So that cliffhanger, it stops right there. Kids, what would you do? What would you do? Most of the kids that was in that scenario didn't even know that their other friends had intended on robbing the store. Situations like that, putting them in the shoes and using different methods to have, now you the facilitator, let's talk about it. What would you do? So these are just aids for you. All right, next slide, please. The intended audience and facilitators. If you work with, we'll say it's at-risk male youth, but just this is valuable information for youth, period. But this is for you, teachers, community groups, new or established mentor groups. There's many great positive groups out there that are doing the work. This is not meant to be a replacement of what you're already doing. I repeat, it's not meant to replace the work you're already doing. This is an added tool to your arsenal. Like when the kids, like we just talked about in that story, when they meet that police officer, like Batman with the utility belt, he doesn't just have a gun. He or she doesn't just have a gun. They have a baton. They have handcuffs. They got nunchucks. They got zip ties. They got mace. They have multiple tools to deal with the situation? How much more should you, as a youth advocate dealing with youth, have on your arsenal belt to help them avoid the prison cell? So the curriculum is intended to be completely customizable to fit within your program. You can run this program, this curriculum, as often, as slow, or as fast as you want it to. We did not want to pigeonhole you into, you have to do it like this to do, no. Fit it in how you want to fit in. This can be your complete program for those new upcoming mentorship groups. It could be facilitated by the ones that are more established, the schools. It was based off of the work I did within one middle school in my city. And I based it off of, if you operated once a week, 45 minutes a week, that was the way it's laid out. But if you operate faster, you can move along as you feel you need to. So go at your own pace, got that. So regardless of who you are, this curriculum is intended to reach at-risk youth where they are and not where we think they should be. Next slide, please. So along with this curriculum, if you are facilitating this curriculum, you're a part of this, you have the package, you're doing your thing, we have a mentor support group, a monthly mentor support group, because mentors need love too. I know personally, I'm not speaking off the side of my neck. I needed love. I needed help along the way. And if you're not strong, we will be less impactful. This mentor support group is meant to help with issues that you may be going through that someone else may have already gone through. As these created this web, this connection of mentors throughout the world that, we can help guide each other. And also you may be working with a youth that moves to another city, uproots family, foster care, whatever the situation is. And now you have a youth you've been working with that from Florida that's now in Nevada, but you have a connection point wherever that is that can now, step in. Even if your youth, please, has gone on to college. You know how many college students are falling off because they still need that mentorship? Having them there. And they're also included monthly trainings that will be implemented into here so you can get more value and add on to the value that you're already bringing. So that's the mentor support group. And next, I did my lived experience spiel, but I knew this curriculum couldn't be everything that it should be if we did not have our academic scholars involved and those that knew data and all the key ingredients that you'll need to have a successful program. And for those that are, you may be fulfilling certain grants, and there's so many areas of concentration in this curriculum, from gun violence to homelessness to fentanyl abuse, all these different issues that you may be fulfilling a grant for that this curriculum can fall into. So we wanted to point you in the right direction. So I believe we have Asha Jimenez on board, clinical community psychologist. Asha Jimenez, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Hello. I'm going to shut my mouth and you take it away, please.
Sounds good. Take a deep breath and drink some water. You've been talking a lot there.
It's a problem. Baptist preachers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Asha Jimenez. As Armand mentioned, I'm a doctoral candidate in clinical and community psychology and a consultant on the Walk With Me project, supporting the program's evaluation development. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes here to describe some of the goals and current offerings for assessing the effectiveness and working to improve the project with the youth participating in the program. As Armand has mentioned, this is an emerging project based on lived experience expertise. So we're arriving at this project through the lens of practice-based evidence, where the wisdom of those who are experts in these communities and their experiences are really what is guiding the development and initial implementation of the intervention. Within that, this team of experts have identified the outcomes that they believe are holistically important for this community of youth and that they believe this intervention program is targeting. Those are things like social connections and factors in normative development broadly, things like well-being, coping, academic engagement. And given that it is a culturally and community defined intervention, our goal in the evaluation is to be similarly culturally and community defined. This will, of course, initially include a lot of qualitative feedback through interviews and focus groups across stakeholders. But in many ways, that kind of community-defined intervention is also influenced and reinforced through qualitative outcomes. So while we're working to develop our own measures, ultimately that are reflective of the community-defined nature of this intervention, we want those to be validated with the youth to ensure that it's reflective of their experiences, the language, the experiences that are happening within the intervention. In the meantime, we need to collect preliminary pilot data to inform those surveys. So we have included in this initial facilitators guide measures in the appendix, and they outline how we're targeting each of these initial core outcomes of interest. The initial selection of measures were selected for a few reasons. They are measures that have been previously validated with at-risk youth. They are brief, understanding the limitations in terms of the different program settings, and they are freely accessible to find and use online. While the researcher in me would love to gather as much data to inform how we move forward with developing our own evaluation, we know that may not be realistic for everyone. So at this stage in the project, it's designed for you to select the measures that can be most easily incorporated into the project for you. We're hoping that those who are participating will include at least one measure from each of the category that they use in the program. We've marked the preferences with a little asterisk and to allow us for some idea of comparison across sites, locations to kind of start determining what are the most helpful ingredients of the program as we can continue developing it and doing our own kind of process evaluation. And so the guide has, in the actual facilitators guide, it has some additional information in terms of like time points for administration, with the goal of at least getting some pre-intervention, post-intervention data from participants on their perceptions of individual youth participating on our outcomes of interest to really get an idea of what's working best for the youth and what can we continue to harness and how can we continue to improve the program to make sure that we are meeting the expected outcomes that we would like to. Okay, so these are some initial recommendations in terms of survey measures to include. And should you want any additional information or options for measures, get access the majority of the suggested measures and get some evidence-based information on mentorship in general. It's called the National Mentoring Resource Center. They have a website that has really wonderful information that has been part of the underlying evidence base that we have been tying to some of the development of the outcomes of interest for this. All right, so that's a little bit on the evaluation. I'm going to turn it back over to Armand now.
Thank you very, very much. Extremely valuable. Teamwork makes the dream work, truly. And you covered angles that it'd take me some years of college to do. So thank you for your work on the curriculum. And as we move over to our next piece is the very crucial part of the team was our youth consultants. And we're going to listen to, right now we have some feedback from some of the youth consultants and leaders that have been a part of this.
The program is important to make sure everybody has help, to make sure you don't follow wrong paths. There's not really many programs who focus on just that era like this program. This program focuses on the drugs, any addictions, any problems, like we're going to jail, prison, fighting. The program is really effective.
The Walk With Me program, to me, is something that can be professed to all kids across the nation and all kids around the whole world if they have no focus, no guidance, and nobody overseeing any of their actions or keep holding them accountable for any of the things they do. The biggest thing about it is leading by example to teach the person under you to be another example for somebody else.
What makes this different is that all of those good things that I was reaching for in all those programs, it's all in one now. So now that you don't got to go to 3 different programs to get the same outcome, it's all going to be right here, you know?
The difference between this curriculum and a lot of others is that you got real people, just sharing experience and sharing lessons that we've learned and hoping that it helps. rather than just giving you one way. And this is more of just letting you decide what you're gonna do with yourself. And this is what we went through, and this is what we have to offer, and hopefully, you know what I mean, it helps somebody.
Thank you. And I believe we have two of our youth consultants on here right now. And if you don't mind, I have a couple questions for you. Vincent or McLovia, whoever says yay first, I'm going with you.
What's going on?
Oh, Vincent it is. Hit the buzzer.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up, Vincent? How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling blessed. Another day to become greater.
Yes, sir. So I just briefly, Vincent, you've been under my mentorship and tutelage, and the components of this curriculum. You were kind of my experiment it's been like,
Right.
it's been 6-7 years at least now. You've gone through several different programs that have been a part of creating, and it's definitely and now you becoming the consultant yourself and helping to guide this curriculum and do the work. You're greatly appreciated, man. But a couple questions I have for you, starting with what was your life like before you began this mentorship?
For sure, I met you and fell into your programs at the right time in life. I was in and out of jail, federal prison. I got indicted. I was only 21 at the time, so I got indicted. I've been in and out of jail. Never went to school after high school. Never had a job. I was trying to hit a lick, trying to send a girl, trying to sell some dope, anything I could do to get some money. I woke up every day with no goals, no nothing. I didn't have any knowledge on financial literacy, no job readiness, no nothing at all. Just a lost cause, just out here living day by day. And yeah, that was my life pretty much before I fell into you for sure.
Absolutely. So following up on that, how has the mentoring techniques from this curriculum made a difference in your life?
I say, most of my life, my male role models were negative. It was my first time being able to be around somebody positive to tell me it was okay to do things the way that we weren't taught. It was okay to go to school, and I ended up signing up for college, graduating from college. I ended up doing all your programs and even doing programs of people that you're affiliated with, just to get the proper resources, network, and training to become better. Like I said, I went from not having any credit to a 700 plus credit score. I went from not knowing anything about running a business to having my own LLC. I went from not having a job to having a job. I pretty much could get it anytime I want to get a job in the kitchen. That's in the bag right there, just based off of the job readiness and you getting me prepared. I could pretty much get a job anytime in that field. I'm really trying to think. It's just like my life really pretty much did a 180, and it's not just me. I was fortunate to grow up in the same communities you grew up in. So me and all my peers, all my friends, my so-called clique gang that they labeled us, we all were able to take advantage of the resources and the knowledge that you had to us. We're able to transfer all our dope dealing days, all our pimping days, all our into different avenues which are actually productive and legal. And I guess that would probably be the most important thing, was teaching us how to transfer the negative things into positive things, basically be able to make something out of nothing, for sure.
Absolutely. And so knowing that those different components that helped you, and like you said, helped your friends too, because many,
Right.
that was you and 20 plus others that came
Yes,
under this.
sir.
I definitely see the difference in you all. Why should young people facing challenges consider being involved in the Walk With Me curriculum? Why should people use this with their youth?
I'm not gonna lie, before joining, the first program, I'm call it was Champ. So before doing Champ, I was still a little boy. I was able to become a man, and gain the knowledge. Just like I like how you said proper preparation prevents poor performance earlier. That was one of the main things that was taught to us in the original Champ class. And it's something that I always do. You know, I go to sleep prepared, so when I wake up, it's less stress every morning. So it's more so becoming an adult. It's teaching a teenager how to become a man. It's teaching a boy how to become a man, and carry yourself as a man and do things that men do, opposed to just do things that a regular street dude would do. You know, so.
Yes. Man,
For
thank you.
sure, I think all youth need that in order to become men. They need some sort of a male role model, or even just a positive role model. Period, male or female, that has the proper knowledge and is able to spread the knowledge to others. For sure.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you taking your time to come here and speak with us today.
No problem, brother.
And the
Anytime.
work you're doing, man. This is just the beginning, you know.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Vincent.
All right, bro.
Maclovio, are you around?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Maclovio. There you go. I was like, I want to see that face, man. I need to see that smile, man. You know,
I can't even see my own self right now.
All good. So same questions, man. What was your life like before you began this mentorship?
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Maclovio Marquez. Well, my life before this mentorship, before this curriculum, it was very enclosed. Gang banging, selling drugs, surrounding myself with males who weren't of high value, but at the time I was perceiving those activities, the way they carried themselves as high value. So it was very non-productive, very self-destructive. Like I always tell, I'm very, very transparent with how I live now and how I talk to people in the life that I live. I'm a professional personal trainer and nutritionist now, but I always thought I would sell drugs for the rest of my life. I always thought that would be something I would have to do just to survive, to be able to live and thrive. So yeah, before this curriculum, and my mindset was very enclosed. The perspective of life wasn't too bright.
Man, thank you. And yeah, I've known you for quite some time, man. It was some times where, you know, my heart was hurting seeing you in the circumstances that you were in, but watching you come through that to become the man that you are, and now taking your message, man. We just got back from Sacramento where you were teaching a group of mentors and youth about the detriments of fentanyl. We go to classrooms together. So watching that transition it's your inspiration to me. Thank you. So really final question, because you tapped into my second one already. Thank you. Is why should mentors, why should youth advocates use this curriculum with their youth? Why?
To be honest, I grew up in juvenile hall, in and out. Probably went through puberty in there. So there have been many programs and curriculums that I had gone to, whether it was court ordered or whether it was on my own. None of them stuck. None of them kept me engaged. None of them made me want to be there. And none of them molded my perspective of being a young, scared boy to a man of high value. And the reason is because the way we approach the youth with this curriculum, it's engaging. It made me want to stay there. It made me stay focused. It made me realize, like, hey, this perspective I have of life, of this reality we live in, is very small. It's very, very small compared to what's available, to what's possible. So the reason they should use curriculum is because it works, man. We can go over all of the youth consultants that we have on the team. We could explain each and every one of the circumstances and hardships that not only did they overcome, but they overcame and processed it in a healthy manner. You know, so it works. It definitely works.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate you and Vincent just hopping on for this piece right here. You guys were crucial and critical for the development of this program, because, you know, I'm getting older, man. And and if we don't lean on the voices of the youth to help the younger youth, we'll mess it up. And if we think just because I've been there, done that, means it's the same exact way it is now, that's not true. There are nuances. So having you all as the experts you are is making this curriculum everything it could be. I appreciate you, man. And, bless you. Have a great day. And that is I believe that is the end of the youth consultant parts. And I'm done with my piece here.
Yes, thank you to Maclovio, Vincent, and Armand all for sharing. We are so grateful for our youth consultants that have been going through this process with us and continue to work with us. And now we're going to hear from our Director of Operations, Emma Anderson, and she's going to fill you in on all the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff. Thank you, Sydney. I appreciate it. Thank you, Vincent and Maclovio, as well, for sharing your story and giving your feedback. Appreciate that as well. Hello, everyone, and happy Saturday. Thank you for joining us. This is absolutely the fun part because we're talking about access, action, and implementation. And I know it's been said before, but we are truly grateful to have you here with us today, learning about our initiative. So let's get into it. The individual books that make up the youth mentoring curriculum are available for purchase now on our Amazon Books. I did just drop the links in the chat. The Amazon links are ridiculously long, so I did try to shrink those for you. But if you do have trouble accessing using those links, you can navigate through our website as well, and that link has also been dropped in the chat. What you're seeing here is our initial foundation package. And this package is geared towards applying the curriculum to a smaller group. Therefore, you have the facilitator's guide, you have 10 core directions, and you have 10 choose your path youth guidebooks. As mentioned previously, the corresponding visual aids and audio missions, those are available on YouTube now for no additional charge. You could actually check those out today if you like. What is significant about this package is that it includes a 1-year access to monthly mentor support groups and/or trainings. We also offer customized training from Walk With Me Impact Team on the curriculum or other focus areas, such as gang violence prevention and intervention, as well as restorative practice training for your staff. So if you're interested in receiving training and mentoring support along with the curriculum, this is the package we would suggest. You do have additional levels that are available that cover larger groups, which can be discussed during your consultation. With purchasing the curriculum, we know we always need to watch our bottom line, right? So there may be some creative ways of procurement to consider, such as having a conversation with your local bank to discuss their willingness to underwrite the curriculum as part of your program. You may also look to add the curriculum as part of your budget for any grants that you may be applying for or that you may have already been awarded. So if you want to have further conversation about that and those options, please feel free to reach out to us to discuss as well. Next slide, please. So the purchase process has been designed to make access to the curriculum as simple as possible. But before implementing, we do recommend scheduling a consultation with our team. And the purpose is to gather information that will identify the best plan for implementation and to acquire the best results. So when you're looking at different areas that you want to focus on, if you have specific data that was mentioned earlier by Asha, you can discuss that with us as well to make sure we get the best results when implementing this program. To start the process, you would simply request a consultation from our website, www.impact.com, or you can email us directly at info@wwwimpact.com to schedule your consult. During that consultation, we will outline the next steps for purchasing the curriculum and for implementation, as well as setting up any trainings that you may have signed up for or are interested in. Next slide, please. And what you're seeing here are some of the additional services and resources that we have available. These complement our curriculum and enhance the overall impact of your educational initiatives. So we address issues such as fentanyl awareness, which you see the Stop Fentanyl guidebook there, which is also available on Amazon. We also touch on areas of human sex trafficking awareness, gun violence prevention, gang involvement prevention and intervention, as well as substance abuse. So if you're interested in awareness presentations or school assemblies and or additional trainings, feel free to contact us and we'll set up that consult with you. And that can be done through email or our website. Next slide, please. So if you'll notice, the operations leader in me is beating the same drum of simple, simple, simple. I like processes that are smooth and simple and easy for those that we are interacting with. So if you're ready to add the Walk With Me Impact curriculum to your program, your next step would be to schedule your consult through email or on our website. And then we will work together to determine the best package, walk you through purchasing and scheduling your Walk With Me Impact training. Next slide, please. So at this point, we are entering our question and answer portion of the session, and we'll start with any questions in the chat. I do not see any questions in the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll go first come, first serve. Don't see any questions yet. Armand, were you that good, brother?
No, I think we were very clear. I hopefully that, we really wanted to be clear. Dale Fleming. Let me read it. That would help, right? What's the recommended purchasing path for parents? Well, as a parent, I would just go on to Amazon. That's the place where you can buy individual books. So as a parent, you may not have 10 kids, but you may have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd probably be better just to purchase those unless, please reach out to us if you're a parent that also wants to take part in that monthly mentor support group. And we'll have a discussion with you about how it should be a part of that. We really want to strengthen, parents in the household is the #1 prevention program, intervention, reentry program there is. So, this curriculum started with the mentality of I wanted to empower mothers. Says, what is the next question? What is the recommended age for this curriculum? So although the curriculum was created for youth ages 12 to 26, right? I going through this and looking at myself and my peers, even if I was 46 and never got this, I would recommend they walk through these situations and it will help them go through maybe some previous traumas and things as well. But the recommended is 12 to 26. For our younger ones, there's a coloring book coming soon with the core directions, so stay tuned. And I failed to mention this earlier, but this no one asked a question on this one, but this curriculum was intended for young men, and this is the first of many curriculums to come from us. This is the template that will really target niche subcultures within the community. There will be a young women's version. There will be a faith-based version. There will be one for foster youth. This was just the first and the template. I know you didn't ask all that, but that was the extended version. I don't see any other questions. And like Emma said, if there is, please reach out to us. Is there a possibility? One question. Is there a possibility that I'm introducing topics to my grandson before he actually heard of, and is that a problem? Okay, so I love that question. Thank you. So you gauge the level of your grandson, right? You know him more than I could. But I will tell you this, what's happening, especially now in this era of social media and the internet, and this, not even just then, but it more so now. When I was a youth, there was topics I couldn't, my mom wouldn't let me hear certain songs. You had to plug your ears when they would say certain things, which I respect so much and I appreciate it. But it left a yearning for me to hear those songs when I heard other kids. And if your grandson and youth are going to school and they have peers who may not have those same protections that you're putting over your grandchild, I recommend personally, and not saying this is the answer, but I would want to have these conversations first before someone else has them with your grandson. And there's a lot of parents I've heard from before that are like, my kid doesn't do drugs, or it doesn't know what it is. I don't want to tell them what it is. But yet they find out from their cousin, their friend at school, and they're telling them or sparking their interest, or there's a program that tells them about this. And now what do kids do? They go online and look it up. They go online. And now imagine you barely, or you sugarcoat. One thing is, at this current time, we cannot sugarcoat the information, because as soon as you spark that kid's interest and they go on to YouTube, now you have 1,000 other people talking to your kid, telling them information that may be accurate, may not, and now that's who's doing your teaching. So if you're, I would say, have these conversations with your youth. If they have access to the internet, they're going to have these conversations from someone you don't want to have them with. The opinions of Armand do not directly reflect the Walk With Me curriculum. But hopefully I answered you, Dale. And thank you for being here, Dale, as well. You are greatly appreciated. And anything else, if not, we are here. Please believe it. We're easily accessible.
One thing I do want to mention is your opinion of everyone that has participated today is truly appreciated. We will be sending out a survey. It's very quick. I don't want to hold you up on a long Saturday, but we'll send out a survey. If you wouldn't mind sharing your feedback with us on how we can strengthen our outreach, and any information that you may want to share with us, please feel free to fill out the survey, and we'll take in that information. We thank you truly, everyone.
Yes, thank you to everybody that is still on, and we are very reachable by our website, email, or even phone. So definitely reach out to us, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. Bye, everybody.